to Digital Discourse. Welcome to Digital Discourse. Yeah.
We didn't use that episode, but
Yeah,
now we here.
I get it. I get it. I've been podcasting technically for 4 years, man. I've had so many episodes that didn't air, whether it was for technical difficulties or for the interviewee pulling some fuck shit. It happens. It
Really?
happens. Yeah.
I'm actually curious. What happened?
The most recent one, it was weird, bro. It was this chick. Cause like a year ago, like I had nothing but women on, and that was for a reason. I wanted to grow my women audience, and I had this one chick come on, and like halfway through the show, it hit me that okay, she's only here because she likes me. Like she really liked me. Like I could just tell. And during the show, like it was crazy. Like we were talking about like some freaky shit, which I typically do, but like she was a straight up nympho. And but I could just tell, I could just tell the vibe. So after the show was over, I'm like, yo, that was a good show. Da, da, da. She was like, thank you. I really wanted to fuck you during it.
oh man!
I'm like, see, there it go.
During it is
During it. She was like, I was ready to tell you a few times to turn the cameras off. And I was like, okay, but I'm playing it cool because like I have a rule. I don't fuck my guests.
I was about to ask you about that.
Nah, I don't. Have I? Yes, but it's a rule that I don't do it.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I'm just playing it cool. Like, okay, thank you. And my studio was upstairs, so she just kept saying it. I'm like, all right, that's what's up. Maybe, And she was like, I'm on my period. So I was like, okay, cool. Maybe another time. So we're walking downstairs. I'm still brushing her off, playing it cool. She goes, I mean, honestly, I really want to suck your dick.
Yeah, this is insane.
I'm like, all right, come on. We went back upstairs. And then boom. And I ain't gonna lie, Rich. She was a fucking eater, bro.
Yo.
Oh my God. And I could tell she was. Because before she started, she was like, hold on. Get a towel. She said, get a towel. Put a towel down. I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, and then afterwards, like, it just got weird. And that's why I don't do it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I didn't put the episode out. You know how it is.
Yeah.
When we edit everything, it takes time.
Right.
And I use 3 cameras, so I have to go back and forth. So I told her, like, hey, I'll have it out by this weekend, but it ended up getting pushed back like 2 weekends just because of timing.
Yeah.
And she thought it had something to do with because we never fucked. And I'm like, yo, you gave me head. Why would I act crazy?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then so the night I edited the full episode, took me like 3-4 hours. The next morning, I was going to text her, hey, I'm about to put the episode up. I just finished editing. I go to sleep. That morning, I was going to text her. My phone goes off. And I look at it. She posted something on her story and tagged me. So I tried to go to her story to look at it, but I couldn't look at it. Like her page was like nothing.
She blocked you.
She blocked me. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? I was just about to make the video and it was weird. So yeah, that was one of the weird situations, but that was the weirdest, I should say. But yeah, it happens. Shit happens. But that's why I don't fuck my guests.
Nah, I made that rule at the beginning, and I don't even flirt. None of that. And I've had the same situation when you peep the energy, and you just gotta ignore some of the cues
Gotta
you get.
play it cool.
And it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I like to separate the business.
You have to, man. Like, and people like my homies be hitting me up because I be having attractive women on, and my new co-host Anise. Shout out to Anise. Anise, pretty as hell, the light skinned chick. Like she's about to be my new co-host, and like every time we drop something, someone I know hit me up. Yo, I know you fucking her. I'm like, nah, bro, and that's why I'm able to be successful with it. If y'all was doing it, if y'all was fucking every chick that came on, it does not last.
You don't want to get the reputation like I went over there and this happened.
Nah, bro, it's a crash out. Nah, hell no.
Smart. Keep it that way.
Yeah, man.
All right, so we're gonna start off just from the beginning. What got you into podcasting?
Football. I always wanted to be a sports commentator. Football is my first love. I played it from 10 years old all the way through senior year of college. Shout out to Bowie State. And I always wanted to be a sports commentator. I would watch games and say shit, and then the commentator would say it like 20 seconds later. So I wanted to get into that, and then I found out about podcasting. And Drink Champs was the first podcast I really like came across and really like dove into.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I want to make ESPN meets Drink Champs. And I did that. It was called Foosball Fanatics, and it was dope. Like I had like trivia games where if you lose, then you have to take a shot at Henny. It was dope. But then the football season ended. So it was like, okay, now what? And I really enjoyed what I did. And people would tell me, oh, you're naturally good at it. So I watched Dolomite, the Eddie Murphy Dolomite movie.
Yeah, that movie fire.
Yeah,
That
and it
movie is
inspired me to, because he was very creative and he has so many different shows and audios. And so that inspired me to create a podcast network. Day by Day is a podcast network. I had 3 different podcasts. I had the football one, I had the Smoke and Talk one, and I had Going Smack Radio, which was like about dating and relationships and shit.
Okay.
And eventually I realized how tough it was to really have a consistent podcast. 1, let alone 3.
Yeah.
So then I just combined everything into one, made the Day by Day podcast. And I moved to Charlotte in 2021. The podcast was on ice for about a year. In 2022, I brought it back, got a little bit of motion in Charlotte, and then that little bit of motion turned into a lot. And I just been consistent with it since.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fire. You should probably bring back the sports one. Definitely change the name so you're not centered on football. And I know you got the dude who be on
QCB with Fox Sports
Scully.
Radio.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's my dog.
Y'all
man.
probably do like a co-jump.
Yeah, and it's crazy that you said that because I'm trying to get into radio, and I was just on Fox Sports Radio 2 weeks ago with him.
Okay.
And then the next day he did a night show, and I was just shadowing him doing board operations. Board op, which is pretty much just controlling the board.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were talking about it. I'm like, Q, man, we have to like collab with some type of sports talk show.
Something.
Yeah, and he like, and then seeing him, like, he's damn near my mentor. Like seeing him study, like he has like so many sports books and he reads the newspapers. Like he really dives into it, and it's all sports. You know, North Carolina is a basketball state. I'm not heavy on basketball, so I really have to do my due diligence and get into basketball. That way we can do it year round.
Yeah.
But that's definitely the goal. One of the goals for 2025.
Yeah, nah, that's fire. I watched that one. Y'all had a good back and forth. And I think the clips did well too.
Clips did
Y'all had one that went
amazing.
like crazy.
It's at like 760,000
Yeah,
views.
I knew you had one big one.
It was the one where the biggest one we did was Pause. And that's what
What it was.
Yeah.
I remember that, yeah.
And that's what's so dope because he's old school and I'm new school.
Yeah.
And we both, are like, we both know how to like show our character.
Yeah.
He's a comedian. He's an entertainer. He's been on TV. He does stand up. He knows how to really tune in.
Okay.
And then me doing podcasts for the, the amount of years, I know how to tune into that as well. So it's entertaining. Like we do sports, but like even my mom was like, I would watch it just for the entertainment part.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Pause clip, man, that's about to hit 1 million views. And every time I watch it, I still laugh to this day.
I've never been a type of guy to say no homo, but Pause is just like funny. Like, I really like it.
It's literally a game.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I know that he hates it, which is another reason why I do it around him.
Yeah.
Because, in the South, they don't do that pause shit. That came from New York. You know what I mean? That whole pause and new homo shit, that came from New York.
Because they just say wild shit.
They just say it and just
general.
leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like what he said was wild. For those who don't know, he said, you can suck under 30 years old. That was insane to say. I'm like, Q, relax. But nah, that joint was that was a good one. I'm surprised Cam and Mace haven't came across it yet. Some big names have seen it. A lot of like NFL players have seen it and commented on it, but Cam and Mace haven't yet. I think once they see it, then that'll be like, oh shit moment.
Yeah, you should repost it, but like tag Cam and Mace.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Hey, how do you do stuff like that? I be thinking sometimes of like post a story and be like, do this, tag blase blase.
Repurposing content, that's the technical term for it. No, I'm getting better with it. I repurpose my Eagles content. So I have a large Philadelphia Eagles following.
Okay.
Like Philly is like the third city that is most engaged with my content.
Okay.
And that's from Eagles content. So I do that a lot with my Eagles content because like stuff from last year and the year before still matches with what we're doing this year because we're good. But I need to get better with it with the podcast shit. And that's a good way to make sure you have content every single day. Repurposing. Because I have so much shit that I'm like, yo, I'll just scroll my shit from like a year or two ago. I'm like, damn, that shit was hot. Like I need to repurpose it. I need to get better with it. To answer your question, no, but I need to get better.
Nah, hey man, that's how it is when you running the show by yourself. Honestly.
Yeah.
When people pull up here, they be impressed.
Yeah.
And you doing the same thing all by yourself. So that's fire.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part about podcasting?
Being able to express myself however the fuck I want. And that's what I love about my podcast. Ain't no cut cards or nothing like that. Like you see it, we'll have some wild ass topics. We'll have some explicit topics. We'll have some deep conversations. We'll have some real conversations. I didn't want mine to be single laned. And when people come on, I let them know, we're going to talk about it all. And that's definitely my favorite part. Just being able to express yourself, you know what I mean, and about whatever, literally about whatever's on my mind. I'm on a podcast and like I'll get it off my chest, and it'll be some controversial topics, but 48 laws.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to be controversial.
Nah,
you
for sure.
To
You wanna
really
get some- you
separate
wanna get some
yourself.
attention.
You know what I mean? And I read Charlemagne's book, Black Privilege. Just finished reading that. And, you know, with him being in radio, one of his radio mentors told him about I'm probably butchering it, the 40-40-20. You'll have 40% who's with you. You'll have 40% who's completely against you, but you have 20 that's on the fence. And, you know, neglect that 40 that's against you. You want to focus on that 20 that's on the fence. So I know everything I put out, everyone's not going to agree with.
Right.
I talk about a lot of stuff with men, women. It's not necessarily battle of the sexes. I don't get into that whole field, but I will say some shit that I see women do, or I'll say some shit that I as a man think of and will do, but maybe a lot of dudes won't say it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But it's a good way to express yourself. Whatever's on your chest, you can get it off free of charge.
Nah, that makes sense. My favorite part is just meeting the new people. Like when they come in, I get new perspectives and just like the networking is cool. And you follow them, you see what they got going on.
The
I like
networking
that.
is amazing, bro. And especially you, like you, to this point, since last time I was here, we were talking about it, like just the names in the area that I've seen sit in this couch and talk on his mic. I'm like, yo, Rich is doing that shit. Especially,
try
how
it,
long have you
man.
been podcasting for? Under a year, right?
For this one, yeah, I started. The first clip came out March 31st.
That's what I'm
So
saying,
about,
bro.
About
Like,
8 months.
You hit the ground running,
Yeah.
and the opportunities that come with it is unmatched. Definitely unmatched.
Yeah, I was just talking about it earlier, how I'm looking forward to next year so much. Like I'm not really, and I don't even know if it's a bad thing. I can't really focus on what's happening in present time. I'm so focused on like I got this plan, and I can't wait to see the plan finish.
Yeah.
I'm already like I can't wait till I can just look back.
I'm the exact same way, bro. I posted a clip in October. I was like, yo, I'm already in 2025. Like, if you still in 2024 in October through December, you behind the curve. You got to think that way, bro.
Yeah.
And, like, because you know it doesn't, and that's good because it doesn't stay still. It's not stagnant. If you're a stagnant person, then you're going to think, okay, it is what it is. But you're thinking ahead because you're thinking ahead. You're not stagnant.
Yeah.
And that's the way, whether it's podcasting, content creation, whatever it is, it has to be like that. You got to be able to revamp and rebrand. It's constant change, bro.
Absolutely.
Constant change.
Yeah. Like I haven't hit 1 million yet. Like I got about 3 clips like at 400 something. I ain't got no millies yet, but you got like about 4 of them, I think. And especially the jump with the girl, that jump probably like at 4 million by itself now.
That's at 4 million.
Have you figured out?
1,
You think
2,
you
3,
figured out
4.
like a little secret
On
or something?
IG alone, just IG, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips, maybe 6. I haven't checked on it in a minute. That's on IG alone. From 4 from my page. I'm sorry, 5 from my page, 1 from Spiritual World.
Okay.
That had like 2 milli.
Okay.
And that's just from IG. I hit 1 milli on TikTok, like 8 milli on Twitter, as far as the North Carolina, not the South.
Okay.
And I think Facebook is the only one I haven't hit 1 milli. I gotta double check.
Okay. You think you figured something out? Like what goes to that level?
I think so. For the most part, it's kind of throwing noodles at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
But I think I figured something out. I'm not going to say the full formula. I'll tell you off camera. Because the game is to be sold, not to be told.
Cool. I'm gonna need that.
I will say this, as far as having viral content, is that the first 3 seconds are more important than anything else.
Facts. I've seen that everywhere.
Yeah, I see so much content that can be good, but it takes 5 to 7 seconds just to get into it. It's a dud. It's failed. You have that first, whatever the first word is, that first sentence is the most important sentence of the whole thing. The first reel I had that hit 1 million was, the opening sentence was, North Carolina is not the South. That's a trigger sentence.
Yeah.
You know how many Carolinians, what?
Yeah.
Let me hear her supporting, you know what I'm saying? Let me hear the supporting facts to, you know what I mean? Back this up. So the opening 3 seconds is the most important. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
It has to be interesting. It has to be captivating.
For sure. And I've been bad at that because I've known that and I haven't even been doing that like I should be. Because I've been getting away with it a couple times. So I've been like not prioritizing that. But I'm glad you said that. I need to get back to that.
Cut out the fat. And you as a podcaster, what I do is when I ask questions, especially if I have an interview episode, I'll ask questions in mind of it being the start of a real YouTube short or even a YouTube short video.
Facts.
Like I don't like drag out the question. I try to make the question like boom, 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 get straight into it. And then when I make the reel, I cut out as much time as possible. Like it should be as short as possible. Cut out any dead time, whatever may have you.
Okay.
But that's all I'll say, and we'll talk
Yeah.
beyond the cameras. That's all y'all get for free.
Game ain't. What is it? The game is to be sold, not to be told.
Yes, sir.
All right. I've never seen you cover politics in your podcast. Do you do that?
No.
You stay away from it.
And the reason is because I'm ignorant to politics. To
Okay.
be completely honest with you, like
fair.
I don't know too much of the policies between Trump and Kamala, what they had to offer. I know what I've heard, but as someone who's always on social media, I know that you can't go off of what you see too much, more so what you see. No, what you hear, more so what you see.
Absolutely.
Like if I hear it come from Trump's mouth or Kamala's mouth, okay, I'll take that and run with it. But if someone just tweets, Trump wanted to do this and y'all supported him, Kamala wanted to do this and y'all supporting her, I need to do some research on that. You know what I mean? Because politics can get real dirty.
Yeah.
They'll misconstrue people's words and do all types of shit. And I need to know facts because I ain't ready to look silly for y'all.
Facts.
You know what I mean? I got to know exactly who said what and who wants to do what before I speak on it.
Yeah. If you say it wrong, they gonna come at you.
Exactly. And I just haven't had time to really dive into that world yet. So that's the only reason why. I did make a video on my live stream. I was talking about, with Kamala, how a lot of people were saying that if Kamala loses, then black men are to blame. And I made a little clip about that and went off about that because I thought that was crazy. And again, circles back to that's why I love podcasts. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
I didn't see the clip. What's your take on that?
So I was basically like, that's bullshit. You can't say that, black men are to blame when black men did vote for her. Did black men vote for Trump as well? Yes. But black men voted for her as well. Or even if they didn't, that's not the majority. You know what I'm saying? You can't say if someone loses something, it's just because of one demographic. And I was like, yo, y'all got to stop blaming us for shit. Like, we feel that shit. And I know they weren't saying all black men.
Yeah,
I get that.
for sure.
But when you just say the term black men, it don't specify nothing. Niggas is gonna feel that one way or another, even if it's a slight feeling. We're gonna feel that shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just didn't like how, and it was on Twitter, and I know that a lot of social media stuff is geared towards a certain demographic. I know those certain trigger words or those certain words were geared and set to be put in front of black men to
Absolutely.
create that response. I get that. You know what I mean? I get that. But still, nonetheless, it was said black men. I just didn't like that.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what I mean? What about the black women that voted for Kamala? Because I pulled up the numbers on my live stream. It wasn't a lot, but it was some. Just like it wasn't a lot that voted for Trump, but it was some.
Yeah.
I met that voted for Trump earlier, not Kamala. But yeah, and I pulled up the numbers. Like I didn't see a single tweet word, nothing about the black women that voted for her. You know what I mean? Like let's keep it even. You know what I'm saying?
It was out there. It was some black women getting grilled.
Yeah, and then I also said this, and I don't think I was like, y'all ain't say shit to her for having Meg twerking during her fucking rally. That was a fucking mess.
All of that celebrity shit was a mess.
It was a mess. And it was a mess from Trump too. This nigga had Hulk Hogan rip his shirt. He's like, they tried to shoot my president and rip his shirt. Like, yo, this shit is a mess. But let's call it out on all sides. You know what I mean? So that was that. But that was the only time I've ever touched politics.
Okay, that makes sense. And I'm gonna bring politics back, but I am curious to how you feel about this because you very often will see like a post somewhere and it's like black men this, black women that. You don't see white women this, white man that. Why you think that is?
I think it's the opposition working in plain sight and hiding in plain sight. I think it's the Willie Lynch letter in full effect. And for those who don't know, Willie Lynch letter, Google it. It's pretty much just the separation of the black man and black woman of a family and the friction caused in between them during separation, which is caused from the opposition. You know what I mean? Like it's all a trap.
Yeah.
It's all aligned on purpose. And I just think that's what it is. I think the Willie Lynch letter is in full effect today. And, the best way to hide is in plain sight.
Yeah.
They do it clever ways. Like I said, with social media, especially Twitter, Twitter knows I'm a black man, so they know that certain words that trigger black men coming from black women to cause conflict, they're going to push that in front of me.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. And
You
we
think
fought.
it's like legit calculated?
Absolutely. Social media, TV, music, whatever you want to, call it, it's definitely calculated, and we fall for it. We fall for it. So I can't get too mad at the traps being set.
Yeah.
I gotta hold us accountable as well. We fall for this shit. You know what I mean? Because like, it's no reason. Like, if you really look at our grandparents, and like, just like the unity, like in the 60s and 70s, like the black unity, the black power, the black love, whether it was a relationship or not, just the black love amongst all, man, that shit was strong as hell. And right now it's so fucking divided, it's crazy. Like, it's back then it was majority to see a happy black family, you know what I'm saying, black unity. Now, like, if you see a happily wedded, black couple, that's not as much as the norm now.
Yeah, if you look at the actual stats, I watched something. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get the numbers wrong, but I think it's like during those times, 70s or something, like a household, like a black family household that was mom and dad was in like 60-70%, and now it's like 20.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
10s.
It was definitely the majority in the 70s, and it's not as much now. And it's sad to see, man, because I'm someone that talks a lot. I'm single. You know what I'm saying? I've spent most of my life single. I've only been in one relationship, but that's just me. But do I want to be like, at the end of the day, like, happily, you know what I'm saying, with, my queen or whatever? Yeah, for sure. But and then on my podcast, I talk about a lot of single bachelor shit, because that's what I am.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to think that, like, that's the end all be all. And I'm always saying fuck bitches, get money. Nah, that's just where I'm at now. But I think at the end of the day, it is good to be, unified, man. It's sad to see.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Nah,
sad to see.
I feel you. It's sad. It breaks my heart because I see the traps and the divisiveness and just everybody just being so selfish and women really being taught to be that way, like, or suggested to be that way.
Oh, it's nasty, bro.
Yeah.
It's really nasty. And then it's on all levels where it's set to divide us. Even like the legal system, like with courts and whatnot. Like, I don't know if you saw the clip of the little girl that walked to the stage that was in like kindergarten. They asked what you wanted to be when you get older. She's like, I want to be pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So like, they see,
I didn't see that.
it was a clip. It was crazy. So like, little girls even see now, like, oh, all I gotta do is get pregnant, have a dude's money, and have a dude's child, have a dude's baby, and I can use that for whatever advantage, whether there's money, da da da. It's crazy out here, man.
I wouldn't have took that. I ain't seen the clip, but I would just assume like maybe she's in a big family and would want kids.
That's a great way to look at it. You have a positive. You're very what's the word? Optimistic.
Yeah,
that's good. I looked at the worst possible scenario.
I try to stay away from that because that's offered to you.
See,
like, negativity.
Boom! It just hit me.
Yeah, that's offered to you. You don't have to look for that. Like, you could be if you just open up your phone, you're gonna see something negative. So I try to just stay positive, and if negativity comes, I'll act accordingly.
Yeah, I need to do that more.
Yeah,
I've been trying to align my chakra lately. It's been working too, so I'm trying to do that.
Okay, you did. You're talking about unity and how you feel away, but you are a bachelor and single. So, what do you look for to even get in the mindset to settle down?
So recently, like over the spring and summer, I was dealing with one chick that, like, I never felt this way about a chick. Like, I even had a relationship before, but I liked her more than the chick I was in a relationship with. Like, I really saw something out of it. But I ended it because I'm like, I just don't have the time to, offer what she wanted. And I'm not gonna say I regret it, but next time I maybe would work and, try to make two things work as well. But I'm not pressed. I'm not really pressed or looking for nothing right now at all. Like, if something finds me, like, yo, it makes sense, you have to, then I will weigh all my options and move accordingly if she's with it. If not, then boom. But again, I got a podcast. I'll be having women on, like, previous women I've dealt with, they be jealous about, women I bring on the podcast and shit, because it's kind of intimate at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? It's a podcast. It's one-on-one. Yeah. But your question was what I'm looking for? My bad, I kind of
yes, like, that's fine. But even in that case, if you found a woman and it made sense, you would still probably have a checklist.
Yeah. I'm not crazy. I'm not materialistic myself. Well, not materialistic, but not pressed off of like the social media shit, the social media materialistic shit. Not pressed off of clout, common sense. I prefer a natural woman. She ain't got to be 100% natural, but like if you just, I've never seen the real you. That's a problem. No body enhancements. And yeah, that's it. I'm simple.
Okay.
Common sense, a good sense of humor.
Okay.
Good sense
Yeah,
of
that's not
humor.
bad. So for you, it's just a matter of when you are available to even have that come into your life.
Yeah.
I got you.
But the podcast actually it helps with the podcast since I am single. But I think once I do get in a relationship, it's going to be a great pivot for my podcast as well, because everyone knows me and has known me for being single and talking however I want about whoever I want on the show.
Yeah.
But I think when I get in a relationship, that's going to bring a good dynamic to it as well. Once
Absolutely.
that does
'Cause
happen.
you could definitely have to change up a little bit. Things,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
You can tell her all you want. Look, babe, it's entertainment. Blah,
Yeah,
blah.
yeah.
She ain't hearing that.
Yeah,
You know?
every chick I've like talked to, like while I had the pod, at one point like they were like jealous of a certain moment or episode, if you would.
Nah, makes perfect sense. I've been there. Going back to the politics, I don't even know if you'll be able to answer this question. If you can't, we'll move on. But when I talk to people about politics in real life, especially, I haven't been talking about it now that it's over. Now we'll just see how everything plays out. But when I talk to any men in person, all of them was pro-Trump. Like, I can't remember the last time I met a guy who was pro-Kamala, but none of them would talk about that in person. They would tell women that they was dealing with that. And why you think that is? I get it's a sensitive subject, but
I think one of the reasons, again, I didn't do research on this, but like didn't it come out like I have a lot of black men locked up over not petty charges, but not crazy serious stuff.
I haven't looked into it that much either. I think it was drug related.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard. That was one thing I've heard. And two, I mean, here's the thing. I think a lot of people sat back and looked at how the shape of the country has been in the past 4 years compared to the 4 years before that. And Kamala is or was Biden's vice president.
Right.
So it's like, do people want to go down the same road that we've been in the past 4 years, or do they want to say, let's try something new? I think that's what it is. I think some dudes as well don't think a woman could run a country. Let's just be straight about it. I don't think some dudes think that's feasible.
Probably.
And yeah, I think it's past the black woman. I think dudes ain't trying to just support someone just because they're a black woman. They're like, okay, what are the ins and outs? What are the benefits of it? You know what I mean? I think that's what it is.
Well, I wasn't asking you more so why they made the decision that they made, just more so why they would be afraid to share it.
Oh, to share it.
I've talked to men who was like they would tell their girl they voting for Kamala, but they going Trump.
Oh,
like why wouldn't they stand on it?
Man, listen.
Like I can't really understand the mindset of being afraid to tell a woman what you want.
It's
and what you wanna do.
because the backlash will be times 10 from black women if that came out. With a lot of opinions that black men have about a black woman, it don't even have to be negative. It could just be different. They're scared to put it out there because of the backlash that will come with it. Again, it'll be times 10. You know what I mean? That's why I like Kevin Samuels. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit he would say, like he would always say how many dudes would DM him, text him, thank you. That wouldn't say the shit he's saying themselves, but they think that way.
Okay.
I think that's what it is, man. Well, not even think. I know that's what it is, man.
Just don't want the backlash.
Scared of the backlash, bro. But I think you should speak. I didn't vote at all, just because I'm not too fond of either side. And not only that, the last time I voted for Hillary. She won the popular and she didn't win presidency. And when that happened, I was 21. I said, I'm not doing this shit no more. You mean they tell me I just voted for someone and they won the popular vote and they didn't win?
Still didn't win.
The college, electoral college, yeah. And but yeah, just the backlash that comes with it. Yeah, man.
It is a lot to deal with. It is a lot to deal with. I just can't wrap my head around just just like being afraid or just like succumbing to that. But I guess some men just like, what's the point? I don't want to deal with it.
But look, again, I'm with you. Like, why live in that space where you have to lie?
Yeah,
I'd rather
especially as I can see like not giving it to strangers because maybe you don't want to
Right.
argue about politics on a
Right.
sidewalk.
Right.
But if it's in my house
Yeah.
with my chick, I'm like, look, this is what I'm on.
Yeah, man. I'd rather someone not fuck with me for living in my truth than me having to beat around the bush just to fuck with somebody.
Exactly. Like I can only be friends with you if I think this way.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
Nah, that's crazy.
Nah. Okay. Nah. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's about respect.
Absolutely. What's the overall goal? Like for the podcast, if it go exactly how you want it to go, what's the big vision?
The big vision is, so Day by Day is a podcast network.
Mm-hmm.
The big vision is to have my own studios, have multiple shows underneath the podcast network umbrella. That's the big vision, as well as being someone who produces other people's podcasts on the side. Like it just doesn't stop. Produce other people's podcasts, teaching other people's podcasts, making talks or whatever. Shout out to my homie Notes at Johnson C. Smith. He let me come and speak to his sports media class about podcasting and
Really? That's dope.
content. Yeah, that was my first like little, taste of doing that.
What age group?
College students.
Okay.
Johnson C. Smith University.
Okay.
It's at HBCU in Charlotte.
Okay.
And so that was dope. And I was like, okay, yeah, I've always thought I could do something like this, but yeah, this is what I want to do. As well as radio. So that's something I've been getting my foot in the door with so far. But 2025, I really want to, make it happen. A radio personality. Which is, some people be like, radio's dying. I don't think radio's dead. Has it taken a step back with podcast and YouTube? Yes, but I don't think it's going anywhere. And I don't think you can fail as a radio personality if you built your personal brand. Mm-hmm. I think it's a reason I've been, doing podcasting for the past 4 years and have interviewed, high status people and have had co-hosts to prepare me for that. And to be able to do both. But I really have always wanted to do radio, and that's something I want to get into this year.
Okay.
But the network, man, having multiple podcasts, having my own studio, can't wait to get into that. Start, with one room, but down the road, having like an actual studio, multiple sets, and can do whatever the hell I want with it. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how it is with podcasts. You get as creative as you want.
Yeah.
Creative as you want. Like, your project that we were discussing, that's dope as hell. You know what I mean? And I think podcast is perfect for people who have that creativity.
Yeah.
Because it's endless.
Yeah, it can turn into anything.
Anything you want. Like I did a podcast episode outside once. You know what I mean? Like you can do whatever you want with this shit. But yeah, the network having multiple shows underneath it, and just scouting out, see who would be a good fit for it. Mm-hmm. Kind of doing something similar to that with Day by Day podcast. That's going to turn into more like a solo thing, but I'm producing a new show that I'm going to be co-hosting with Anise, who I've had on my show a few times. We're collabing and going to have a show of our own. And I think it's going to be good because I interview people a lot, but that's going to be more so just me and her. We're the niche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just me and her kicking shit.
And I was wondering that too because I saw her on there a couple of times. I was like, okay, so he got somebody. And I even thought about it myself. Like, maybe I should bring somebody on.
Yeah, so it's a soft rollout, if you would. Like, I'm just like trying to feed her to the people as much as possible. So we keep seeing her. What's going on? And then boom. By the time this come out, we're going to have it. So it's good. But yeah, boom, we have our own show. And that way, we're going to have it engaged with the audience as well. They can send in texts, send in voicemails, and we just going to kick the shit, man.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Nah, that's fire. It sound like a Crash Dummies podcast. It's gonna be like that.
Exactly. Crash Dummies, shits and gigs, whatever you want to call it.
I got you. Has there been like something that you've been able to take away because you've talked to so many people, so many different perspectives? So do you feel like there's something that you've just learned about people through all of this?
Yeah. Everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell, man. And podcast is the new alley to do such. It's the new like area to do such with. And not just podcasting, just content and streaming. Mm-hmm. Like Cost and that's why you see so many celebs going his joint.
He going crazy.
Yeah.
Bro. He making 3 million something a month.
Yeah, bro. Everyone has a story to tell, and they know that content is king right now. So whether it's from live streamers, whether it's from podcasters, whether it's from just your typical content creator, Mr. Beast and whatnot. They know that content is king. Like, we rule right now.
Facts.
I don't know if it's going to be the same 5 years from now. I'm interested to see what happens 5 years from now. But right now, content is king. And everyone that has a story to tell, whether they're down here, whether they're up here, they want to go to these platforms to do such. You've been going crazy in the area. The artists, the figures, the people that you've been having in the area come on this show, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them reach out to you as opposed to you reach out to them.
Yeah.
It's because they have a story to tell, and you have a good platform to do such. So just realizing that, you know what I mean? Like, and this, you see somebody on who's an artist or athlete, and you think what you see is what you get. And then you sit down and you ask them some questions, let them get their shit off. You're like, damn,
Yeah.
I ain't know that happened to them. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. So everyone really has a story to tell.
No, it's a fact. That's my favorite part about it. You just get layers in there. Then it get a little intimate. It's like, damn, okay, I actually kind of fuck with this person now.
Yeah, it's crazy, bruh. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. A new question I'm experimenting with, and so I'm gonna see how this goes with you. Do you feel like you have a purpose in life? And if you do, what is it?
Yes, I do feel I have a purpose in life. I thought it was football. Football was like my love. Like, I really thought I was going to the NFL. After my football career, I went for a job interview at Columbia Mall. I forget what store it was. I forgot what position it was. But it was an older lady. I was sitting down in the food court eating Chick-fil-A breakfast before the interview. And it was an older lady that walked up to me and was like, I don't know the exact words, but she pretty much said like, oh, and she came out of nowhere. She's like, oh, you have the glow. You're meant to be seen and be heard. You have the glow. You have that aura. You're meant to be seen and be heard. You're meant to be in front of a camera and a microphone. People need to be listening to what you have to say. And this was before I even started podcasting. And I was just like, well, thank you. Because I've always like kind of found myself in front of cameras, whether it's some sports or whatever it may have. It's like, oh, thank you. Da, da, da. And then I started podcasting and, just the feedback I hear from podcasting. I don't think my purpose is podcasting. I think that's that's like a micro purpose, but I think the main purpose is to be a voice for people that, like we were talking about, whether it's for their job, family reasons, politics, can't necessarily say what they want at certain times. I think that's one of my reasons, and to have a platform as well to bring other people on as well that want to do the same thing. I think that's my purpose.
Okay. All right, that's solid. Everybody needs an outlet.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm sure there's plenty of people out here who don't feel heard. So that's useful.
Yeah. Well, let me switch it. Let me get into my interviewer bag for a second.
Okay.
Do you feel you have a purpose? And if so, what is it?
Absolutely. I think my purpose is just to wake people up, honestly. If I had to just simplify it. Like, I have a lot of talent, a lot of gifts, and
you're very creative.
Yeah, and it wouldn't make sense to me to be selfish with it all. So, like, I'm always like trying to just throw an idea, somebody push somebody to do something. And in my personal life, some of the people that I say things to influence them to do things, I couldn't imagine them doing it if I wasn't saying it.
Right.
And it seems like it's always for the better.
So when you influence people and they get something going that they maybe wouldn't have not done if not for you putting that battery in their back, when you see them going and they stop, what do you do from there? Do you try to re-encourage them again, or do you leave it where it's at?
If it's a personal person that's going to stay in my life, I'm like nonstop with it. Okay. Like, if you here, then you getting this nonstop. I probably get on niggas' nerves for real. Yeah. But if it's somebody I don't know personally, and if we have a relationship where I could just reach out to you and I see you slipping, then I probably say, hey, I thought you was doing this. What happened with that? Blah, blah, blah. So it's like that.
Yeah. And I think as good as motivation and inspiration is, I think it's hindering as well, because people will try to rely on that solely. We don't feel like doing this shit every single day. At all. Editing, setting up, producing, directing. We don't feel like doing research. We don't feel like doing it every single day, but we do it because we're chasing something, because we're chasing our purpose. When someone whether they have a purpose or not, they do have a purpose because we see it. But still, they just feel like they have to be motivated to chase it. I try to tell people to stay away from that because that's so damaging if you only go off of the motivation.
Yeah.
Because I've been in rooms where people had ideas of something, whether I'm involved or not, and they're motivated, they're inspired, they're fired up. So they're feeling good about it right there. So they talking about it like, oh, we're going to do this. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be good. Couple weeks down the road where that same flame isn't there, where now it's like, okay, you have to do it because you want to, not because you pumped up to do it, is dead.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, yo, what happened to the da-da-da?
100%.
And it's nothing. Like the amount of people that came onto my podcast that said they were going to start a podcast, it's probably like, oh man, it's close to double digits. It's probably like 7. And what I do is if someone comes on my podcast and say they're interested in starting a podcast or they're about to start a podcast soon, cool. I'm going to give you a chance to be the podcaster for a good 15 minutes. You know what I mean? I'm gonna throw you in the fire.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got.
Ask me something.
Yeah, straight up. And, you know, and they may do good. I'm like, yo, do your podcast.
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't think I've had one that came onto my show, said they were going to start a podcast and have done it. Not one. But I've had about 7 people that have done it.
Yeah. Nah, and I feel you on that. Me personally, if you are that motivational person, if you doing that for somebody else takes away from you, if it's draining in some way, absolutely get rid of that. Stop immediately. But if it's nothing, it's just as simple as a reminder. Because especially if it's somebody in your life who you already texted, if you might say you watching the game tonight, a second message could be, what's up with that podcast?
Yeah.
So if it's not affecting you, then why not just keep throwing it on top?
Yeah. I love being a spark.
Yeah.
That gets them going. I love that. When
Absolutely.
people hit me up, be like, yo, I see how much you've like you've been going crazy for the past few years and it's hella motivating for me to do this. I love that shit. That shit fuels me.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to keep saying or keep trying to be that motivating factor. It should spark it for you to start. The hardest part for anything is starting. The hardest part for going to the gym is going to the gym. After that, once you're there, once you start, it's easy. But people have to realize that they have to dig into themselves. They have to find it from within to keep going. They have to find that discipline.
For sure.
Discipline is the most important factor, the most important thing you can have in life. That's why I love football forever. No, I don't play football anymore, but that really instilled discipline in me. To getting up every morning earlier to whether I got to edit or hit the gym, that shit came from discipline coming from football. If you don't have any type of factor that inputs discipline in your life, then you have to create it. Yeah. It don't just come into your life. People be like, oh, they're lucky because they able to do this. No, they worked for that shit.
They ain't seeing the behind the scenes shit.
Yeah. And with social media now, everyone wants instant gratification. No, like people have been busting their ass for years. Blood, sweat, and tears. Literally blood, no, but sweat and tears, yes. This podcast shit has broken me down a few times before. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a one-man band. You know what I mean? Because you're like, bro, what the fuck? What am I doing wrong to where I'm here? This person is here, but they started way after me. You know what I mean?
They got
shit
5
like,
people.
Yeah, like shit like that is real. It's real. But you keep going. You don't stop. Too many people stop when the shit hits the road. Yeah, and I ain't going to sit there and say I ain't never thought about stopping. I've told myself I was going to stop at least 100 times. At least 100 times, but you never do.
And you even did once. You said it went on ice for a year. What got you to bring it back?
When I moved to Charlotte. Well, one of the main reasons because I didn't know anybody. Okay. When I moved to Charlotte, I just moved to Charlotte.
Oh, you couldn't get guests like that.
Yeah, I was a small fish in a small pond out there, or medium-sized pond. Charlotte isn't too small. Charlotte is actually big, but yeah. But I knew I wanted when I moved out there. I was like, okay, at some point I'm gonna be the hottest podcast in Charlotte. I'm gonna be that figure. As far as a microphone and a camera in Charlotte. And I've done that in 2 years. But that came from me constantly getting at it. And closed mouths don't get fed as well. So constantly reaching out to people. I've paid for a few interviews. I paid for Lex Luger's interview. That to this day is my favorite interview. And I think my best interview.
Really? I'm going to watch it. Because I was going through your podcast the other day because I was like, I'm looking at your clips like, I like how he do this. Let me watch a couple episodes. And I saw that one. Yeah. But it was like 2-3 years ago, so I just opted for something newer.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So if that would have been today, like my camera setup was terrible. Like I had the USB mics. I don't have the mics I have now. My camera setup was awful. But the way I did that interview, that truly let me know that I could interview anybody. Yeah. I've been listening to Lex Luger since I was in middle school. Rubber Band Business 1, Rubber Band Business 2, Blue Dream and Lean, like, and then beyond that, beyond Juicy J, Waka Flocka, Flockavelli, like all the beats that Lex Luger has produced, I've been a fan of since I was little.
For sure.
BMF, Blowing Money Fast, like Lex Luger has produced so many legendary
I'm sure
beats.
there's so many people who's a fan don't even know.
Exactly.
Most people don't really know the producers of things.
Yeah, and I've always been a fan of him, but going into that, and then I did that interview in Timberland Studio in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
And it was just like that. I could have easily fanboyed out, but I didn't. I held it down. I drank a whole pint of Henny. I don't smoke, but he rolled up one of the fattest blunts I ever seen in my life and passed it to me. What I'm gonna do?
It got to in that
You
situation.
know what I'm saying?
I don't smoke
Like,
either, but I would have.
Yeah, like this is someone I grew up with. What I'm gonna do? Say nah? Like
Yeah.
I hit that joint. I crushed Henny, but I killed it. And it was so natural. And I have to run it back with him now that I think about it. But yeah, to this day, that's hands down my best ever interview. And it was someone that I looked at like up here.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy.
Nah, that's fire. That's a fire ass situation.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you took it very seriously. You paid for it and all of that. So.
Paid for it.
And that's part of it. People take when you spend money, you don't play around. You take stuff more seriously.
And it was money well spent. Not even from the. It's crazy because it only has about 5,000 views on YouTube, but so many people have taken clips from that interview and used it on their YouTube video. Like it's one dude who did like a mini bio about Lex Luger, and he took hella clips from that joint, and his shit probably got like 400,000 views.
Okay.
But the money was well spent because it let me know I'm supposed to be doing this shit.
Yeah.
If anything else, that interview let me know I'm supposed to be doing this shit. Like, for real.
Absolutely. And you good at it. I ain't gonna lie. You all good at it.
Appreciate that, bro.
I am curious how you feel about this, though, because you were saying how people took clips from that video. That's happened to me plenty of times. I don't have no million views Jones on my page, but stuff has been taken, putting on Twitter, another thing that's got millions.
Yeah.
How you feel about people taking your clips and not tagging you, not giving you the credit?
Well, not tagging me or not giving me credit. Sometimes they may not know because they may have got it from somebody who got it from somebody.
Yeah.
So I'll reach out and be like, hey, this is my shit. Can you give me credit? And they usually do. But if someone doesn't, then they a fucking bird. But also, I don't trip because I always put my what's that called?
Watermark.
Yeah, my mark at the bottom. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Day by Day Podcast. That's always on there.
Okay.
Even if someone steals my shit, I'll see and that's always on there. Even if it's not, they'll give me credit.
Okay.
I mean, if someone was to do that and not give any credit and take out your mark, that's a fucking scumbag.
Oh, it's happened to me.
Really?
Because
Yeah.
you know how I got the logo at the bottom?
Yeah, it's at the
I've
bottom.
had people like put like a black thing at the bottom.
That's
so,
fucked
So you
up.
can't even see the clip, but there's something at the top so you can't see that I put the words up there and just the
Yeah.
middle shit.
See,
I'm like, damn,
that's
is it that
fucked up.
is it that serious? Like you had to be a small creator at one point.
listen, man, that is fucked up, but nobody can out originate the originator
Right.
ever.
Yeah. And I just take it as flattery. It's
It
like,
is.
all right, I'm good enough for this platform with millions to come over here and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So I got eyes on me. So just keep it moving.
That's a good way to look at it. I don't trip out.
Yeah.
Even with the dude that got over 500,000 views on his YouTube video that took the Lex Luger joint, I don't trip out about it. I left a comment. It was like, yo, this is from my interview. Thanks for... And he pinned the comment. But I mean, again, like you said, the fact that my shit is good enough to lead to something that no one has seen or heard before, and it, I just take it in stride.
Yeah.
I don't trip out about it no more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's what's up.
Ain't nothing like the original.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, all right, man. That's all I have for you today. I appreciate you for coming through. You wanna leave off with any final things?
Yes. Closed mouths don't get fed. I know that's a very used saying, but it's so true, man. Like, excuse me. Like, I've just been thinking about reflecting on my time in Charlotte. Again, I went to Charlotte knowing not a single soul, nobody. And the fact that I have the hottest podcast in Charlotte, the fact that I've been on radio in Charlotte with Fox Sports Radio Charlotte, that's just for now. A couple months from now, Charlotte's going to hear me on, other platforms as well. But
For sure.
just the fact that's happened, that came from not being shy, not living in my introvert world. Because technically, I'm an introvert. People don't know that. I'm an introvert. Like, when I go out, I'm chilling.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not afraid to ask for an opportunity, say something. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what it is, like I was able to live stream Eagles game at the livest Eagles bar in Charlotte because I just reached out to the dude and asked him. He's like, "Oh, I've seen your stuff. Yeah, you never know who's watching, but especially with now, man, and people get so mad at people who have certain opportunities in life, and it's because they weren't afraid to ask.
Exactly.
You gotta ask. Open your goddamn mouth. Ask. If you get turned down, cool. On to the next one. So many people are afraid of rejection. That shit ain't nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta ask, man. You gotta open your mouth. You gotta go after opportunities that you want because they're not gonna come to you. Because everybody's kind of doing the same thing now. A lot of people have a podcast, like what you have. A lot of people have a podcast, but nobody's doing it like you do. You know what I'm saying? And it started with you reaching out to people, networking people. You always asking me questions about the podcasting game, which I see you put into effect, and your shit is growing. You know what I mean? Pause. So that shit is if we was in Charlotte, I would have left it alone. But once you go above Virginia, people act funny about it, so I had to. But closed mouths don't get fed, man. These opportunities are not going to come to you. If you look at any success story, that shit did not come to them and knock on their door. They went out and got that shit. So you can sit back and wait for it to come to you if you want. You're going to be 40, 50, 60 years old. Be like, oh, I know that person. I was supposed to do a show with them. Why didn't you, Grandpa? Why didn't you, Grandma? Well, they was acting funny. No, you didn't open your goddamn mouth. Closed mouths don't get fed.
And that is a fact, folks. I hope you took that seriously.
Shout out to Digital Discourse, man. Rich, you doing your thing, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Just trying to stay in the game, trying to keep up with you, man.
Well, I inspire you. You inspire me. I always say with this podcast shit is a help me, help you, help me, help you situation. Yeah, you inspire me as well, bro. Little do you know. Keep doing your thing, man.